met this guy named Sean, and he was a participant on another backpacking
So
trip.
we're not talking about the true or lie now, right?
No.
No, this whole thing's
This
a
is
lie.
all, As far as I know, this is a true story.
It's not he that's making the lie up. It's the other guy who made up the story.
Repeating
But I'm going
somebody's
to tell
lie.
you guys Sean's story about the Castle Rock Trail Camp. So we were hiking Skyline to Sea, and we started at Partridge where we started today, and we hiked all the way to the ocean in Rancho del Oso. And we stopped here for lunch on the first day. And when we stopped here, I noticed that he was looking around a lot, and he was really nervous to be here. And so I was kind of like, it piqued my interest a little bit, and I just ate my lunch, no big deal. And then I talked to him later, and he was like, yeah, man, I was like, hey, I noticed you're a little nervous over there. And he was like, oh, yeah. Like, he wouldn't stop looking around. Like, he was eating, and then he would, like, check behind himself. And then, so I was like, yeah, what's going on? He goes, yeah, well, last time I stayed at the trail camp, I came across a mountain lion and her cub, and I got stuck between the mountain lion and the cub.
Not good.
I was camping at campsite 13 at the trail camp, which is this campsite here. And I'm not making up the campsite location. I specifically chose this campsite so I could tell the story when I was picking him this time. And so he said that there's some trees over here, some downed trees, and right behind your tent, actually. And he said he was cooking over here, and he was looking with his headlamp, and he noticed something in the distance that was a light color, just a light reflection. There's two reflections, and he didn't think anything of it. They were pretty small, and he thought maybe like a raccoon or something, and he just kept cooking. All of a sudden, he realized that there was other eyes over there in this campsite, and those eyes were bigger. And he was sitting on this picnic table, stuck between the two sets of eyes, and then he heard this growl, this like howl, this like really sharp, high-pitched mountain lion call, and he immediately knew that he was in trouble. So he started by banging pots and pans together as loud as he could, trying to make noise, and he made the fatal mistake of making eye contact with the mountain lion over here. And the mountain lion started strafing from side to side into the trail right here. And he jumped up on the table, and he was stuck, and the mountain lion was in the trail here, hissing and growling at him. And he was banging pots and pans, and he yelled to a fellow camper in another campsite. And it was these two girls. And he was trying to get them to help him by making noise over there too. But they said no. And they didn't want anything to do with it. And they were really scared. And so their service here, he was able to call 911. And he stood on this very table for an hour and 40 minutes because it was super late, and he had just gotten back from a midnight photo shoot. He was trying to photograph the Milky Way from Goat Rock where we were today. And he came back here, and that's when it all went down. And all the rangers were off duty. So they had to bring a ranger from Twin Lakes, which is pretty far away.
That's where I picked up the van from.
Yeah, and it was a very, very long journey. And so a ranger came here, ended up picking him up, and so he stood on this table for an hour and a half, banging pots and pans together, making noise. And the mountain lion was strafing, and then eventually hooked around between these campsites, kind of by my tent, and met up with the cub. And they were still in the bushes over there, and he could hear the growl. He said that it sounded just like a Harley, and it was this really deep growl. And he said that he was here. He couldn't see him anymore, but he could hear the growl. And he couldn't tell if there was cars coming by or if it was the mountain lion. And so the ranger came, ended up picking him up and driving him out of the park. And then that was it for that night. He gave up on his trip. He let it all go. And I was thinking, I heard the story. I was like, yeah, sure. You saw the mountain lion. Yeah, you're stuck between two cubs. Then when we were camping at the other trail camp over there, Scott Sipes, our supervising ranger, came and did a campfire talk for us. And he was talking about prescribed fire. And Sean shared his story with Sipes. And Sipes was the ranger that responded and validated his entire story.
That's amazing.
And he knew what he was talking about. Their dates matched up. He was talking about a call out for a mountain lion here. And this was this campsite. So, tonight when you guys are sleeping, if you guys hear any Harleys,
It might be a
bang some
wild-
pots and pans together
And jump on the table.
and jump on the table.
Okay, we are on the next exercise.
Yeah, well that's where the mother came from.
Okay.
Yeah,
At least not between two cups.
yeah,
right spot.
yeah.
I'm like literally like, what's over there right now?
We make it so that it's a place where we can thrive. And if you could think of this redwood forest as a home, like your home, whether it's your place where you live with your family or the city that you live in, the community that you're in. So there's a lot of similarities there where everything that lives in this forest is sort of essentially like a family member, and they're helping each other out to thrive in this place. And they kind of all have a job to do. And they might not be, obviously most of the time they're not consciously trying to help each other out, but they've been evolving together for tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years. And so now they're at the point where they're all necessary and they all have a job to do that helps this place be like a cohesive home where all the animals can thrive in here. Let's see what I got. So the plants and animals in this forest, they depend on one another to thrive in this forest, but they depend on us to survive. And this is always fun to start this off. Let's see if this works. It might be out of batteries. I got this to record suspects, but now I just use my cell phone.
That's good too. They're gonna play and it's gonna be like, I didn't do it. I'm innocent. And you're like, hey, settle down.
You guys guess what that is?
Do it again. Can we...
It's always fun to hear a pissed off mountain lion.
Waste that one.
Sounds like campsite 13.
That's right.
Ghost arms.
Yeah, maybe. So that's a very angry, hissing mountain lion.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, there's the hiss.
Oh.
That's right. I like to start the talk off by talking about mountain lions
I'm going to set that as
and
my alarm.
their importance as part of their them being like a family member in this home, which is the redwood forest, and why they're important. But first, I was talking about mountain lions in that you don't be afraid to go hiking and go outdoors because mountain lions are there. Mountain lions rarely attack people. And the last time I looked this up, in the last 100 years in California, mountain lions had only killed 14 people. So
Almost
it's really rare to have a mountain lion attack somebody, and it's even rare to have them actually kill somebody. And for the most part, mountain lions don't want anything to do with any of you, because to them, you guys just smell awful, and you stink, and they want to stay away from
Yes.
you.
Like you're standing away from us now.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Very good. So, most of the time, the mountain lion is going to be there, but you're never going to know it. And as soon as they smell you guys, they're going to head the other direction because they don't want anything to do with you. I think they're probably aware that you guys are really the apex predator in the forest and want to stay away from you.
Also not
So
much
it's
meat.
good to know that. But if you do encounter a mountain lion, don't run. Don't run and don't play dead. With bears, they suggest you play dead because a lot of times they're charged like a bluff charge and they're just trying to scare you. But if you play dead with a mountain lion, it might just eat you. So don't play dead with a mountain lion and don't run because that might help them to consider you prey. So just kind of stand your ground, look as big as you can, make some noise. You can chuck a rock at them or something like that. And if you have small kids or dogs or something, you don't want to pick them up. Because a lot of times the mountain lions that do attack people are young lions that maybe just left their mother and they're out hunting solo for the first time. And like young kids or dogs or something are going to be easier prey than like a full-grown deer. But,
So,
yeah,
while
go
trekking
ahead.
the stone, should we try to hit the mountain lion or not, like this? Put the stone near it.
Oh yeah,
Face.
yeah. I mean, if there's a mountain lion that's sort of not leaving, and they're there and they're staring at you, it's kind of unusual behavior. Usually they should be moving along. I would feel comfortable if you threw a rock at it. Yeah, that's what I would do. I think that's acceptable. I won't write you a ticket.
It's magnanimous.
Time check.
And so, can you guess what the mountain lion's job is in this forest and why they're so important?
They're the parents of the
Parents?
family. You said it was a family.
Sure.
They're the parents, right?
It's like a loose sense, I guess so.
You were the one who made the metaphor.
He's just working with your
But
metaphor.
the mountain lions, their important job in this forest is to eat things.
Yeah, they're the apex of
Yeah, so they're the
animal.
apex predator.
So they're the top of the family.
They are, that's true. They're the head of
The
the household.
It's good.
The breadwinners.
And they're very, very. Can anyone guess what their favorite thing to eat is?
Okay, deer.
Deer, yeah.
Children.
So they're perfect killing machines when it comes to deer. And they've been evolving alongside deer for so long that they've evolved some very particular things that help them kill deer very quickly.
Like,
I have read once that they think that there's some sensitive nerves in the bottom of their canine teeth, so that when they're biting, they can sort of feel where their teeth are going, and they can get them to where they want to go. Although that was sort of unconfirmed. I was like, maybe this is what
Theory.
that is.
Yeah, whoa.
Another interesting thing they can do, how fast you can run is sort of how tall your legs are and how far apart your legs can go when you're running. And mountain lions' backs will curve and arch up like this when they're running.
Just like a
Which gives
jaguar.
them extra distance between their front and hind legs, so they can run even faster than what they're probably supposed to be able to do with like the amount of height that they have on their legs. They're real good ambush predators. So what they do is try to hide in the tree lines of a meadow, sneak up on deer in some brush, and they try to get to within like 30 feet of the deer, 30, 50 feet, and they'll jump, and then they'll try to make their kill. And a pack of female lions, when they go out to get a kill, they will get whatever they're going for 30% of the time. And a mountain lion, when it decides to go for a kill, is going to get whatever it goes for 70% of the time.
wow.
So they're really, really efficient, successful hunters. And they got a couple of things that help them out.
Oh, really? I see a claw. There's actually a mountain lion in this pack.
I got this here. You
Whoa!
guys can see that.
Who called
Good
that?
guess.
Whoa! That is impressively large. That's like bigger than my thumb.
And it's the same thing that you're going to find on a house cat. But
No, no.
they have retractable claws, and one of the things they do when they make that jump to get the deer is that they're going to use their claws to grab on so they can get the right bite that they want to get, either on the neck or the throat. And I can pass that around.
Yes, please.
Very big.
And sharp.
And another very cool thing that they do. You want to grab one end of this?
Yep.
And then just keep walking somewhere where you can go pretty
We'll
far.
go this way.
Yeah. Yeah, go out to the trail.
Bye, Brandon.
Oh, I know what this is.
Oh, man. Is that how far they can pounce?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, good job.
No.
Are you serious?
Is that at a standstill?
So,
No.
I recently re-looked this up because someone said 10 feet from a standstill.
I feel sorry for
And
deer.
I looked it up, and everything that I saw said 40 feet from a run.
Right.
So this is 30 feet.
Okay.
And when I was originally looking this up, I saw several things that said they could jump 30 feet from a standstill.
Yeah, that's what I had heard. Like,
And I didn't
25
believe it,
feet
because
or
look at how
something.
far this is.
That's
This is a mountain lion just sitting there
That's crazy.
in the tree line of a meadow, and Brandon's the deer.
Brandon the
If
deer.
they want to get within 30 feet, all they have to do is one jump.
Thank
And
God.
if they could go another 15 feet beyond this if they do a running jump.
Wow. If they want to kill that,
So I didn't believe that was true, and I called the Mountain Lion Foundation, and I said, is it true that they could jump 30 feet from a standstill? And they got back to me like a week later, and they're like, yep, it's true.
It's true that they can do 30 from a standstill.
Yeah.
It's true. We tested it on air.
So it's the 2 truths and a lie of mountain lions.
But it's all true.
Basically, if you see them, you're in the range.
Yeah.
Right.
you're like dead meat if they want to eat you.
So they get that one big long jump with those claws and the teeth that can feel where they're going inside of a deer's neck. So they're very good at killing deer. And a real good example, specifically to mountain lions, they used to think that the main sort of driving factor with like a food chain was that if you take something down at the bottom, it's going to have this chain reaction to everything else up above it. And over the last like few decades, they found out that the apex predators, if you take them out of the food chain, then it has a negative ripple effect back down. And I don't know if you guys have seen the thing where they've reintroduced wolves into Yellowstone, and that's changed the ecology of Yellowstone.
Amazing.
And there's a specific example, the mountain lions in Zion National Park, where the main canyon in Zion National Park, where all the visitors are, is almost completely devoid of mountain lions because they don't want to be around people. And there's a really large deer population in that canyon. And the next canyon over, where there are hardly any people, has a healthy mountain lion population. And number one, the deer aren't there in numbers as high, and number two, the mountain lions will push the deer around. So they can't just eat in one spot. And they did a measurement of cottonwood trees in the main canyon that didn't have mountain lions. And they think that mountain lions started disappearing from that main canyon after 1940. And they did a study of like 800 meters in that main canyon. And they found 20 cottonwood trees from 1940 to present day. 20 trees that grew from 1940 to present day. And in the canyon next door, where they have a healthy mountain lion population in an 800 meter stretch, they found 800 cottonwood trees from 1940 to present day. So the deer are eating everything that they can at grazing level, including all the cottonwood saplings. And they're also eating a lot of the grasses and shrubs that grow along the creek banks. And so those are also diminished, which reduces the amount of insects, which reduces the amount of reptiles and amphibians and fish. And then that reduces the amount of hawks and foxes and coyotes that might eat reptiles and amphibians and fish. So it has this ripple down effect, where it has this really negative effect when you get rid of something like a mountain lion, which is the apex predator in that area. So, and Santa Cruz Mountain seems to have a pretty healthy population of mountain lions, and there's the Puma Project that does a study where they color the mountain lions in these mountains. You kind of get to see where they're going. But do you guys know what these mountains had a lot of that they don't have anymore? That we don't
learned
have
that
anymore?
last night.
Grizzly bears.
This guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, the grizzly bear. So the grizzly bear, they were like the king of these mountains. They were all over the place. And I bet that these mountains look different today because the grizzly bear's gone.
Yeah.
I bet something would have been different that we would have been able to recognize. So that's the mountain lion's really important contribution to this forest hunt.